All right, so we're looking at energy transfer and how it takes place. Energy is transferring between different objects. And so we're going to talk about just how that happens. So before we get into the transfer part, I just want to quickly review with you the different forms of energy. So we went through these last week during live session as well. But just to give you a quick review, electrical energy is going to be the flow of electrons. So that's through wires. And so if you have power outlets or items that you have to plug in, then they're going to have electrical energy. Items that use batteries are going to have electrical energy as well. So like remote controls, toys, things like that are going to have electrical energy. Mechanical energy is the energy of motion, or it's moving from one place to another. So examples of that are things like running, walking. It's moving, so you're actually having to move for it to count as mechanical energy. Toys moving can be mechanical energy as well. Radiant energy is also known as light energy, and it's going to be in electromagnetic waves. It can be light that you can see. So like the light in the classroom is an example of radiant energy. Energy in the sun is an example of radiant energy. But then there's also, like I said, the electromagnetic waves that we can't see. So sound waves, we can't see those. X-rays, if you've ever broken something and had an X-ray done, all of those use radiant energy. Then we have thermal energy, which is also known as heat energy. And that's going to be the movement of atoms based on the temperatures. And the reason that that's important is because thermal energy does not have to be things that are hot. It can be things that are cold as well. So some examples of thermal energy are like a light bulb. If you've had it on for a really long time and you touch it, it's going to be hot. That's an example of thermal energy. A fire, if you stand by a fire, you can feel the heat coming off of it. That's thermal energy. And then the freezing. So something that's really cold also has thermal energy. Chemical energy is the energy that's stored between atoms, which are bonded together. So a chemical reaction would need to take place. And so those are things like a fire. So to start a fire, there has to be a chemical reaction between the oxygen, and then you're also typically lighting a match. And so those are chemical reactions taking place, and then the fire can start. Fuel or gas, like in a car, is chemical energy. And then the food that we eat, anything that you eat or drink is going to be broken down in your body, and it's going to give you the energy that you need to basically just go through your day. And then gravitational energy is the energy that's stored in an object that's ready to fall. So if you have a ball at the top of a hill, it's going to have gravitational energy once you are pushing it down. Remember, that's that potential energy at the top. And then once it starts moving, it would be kinetic energy or mechanical energy. The person like jumping out of an airplane, they have gravitational energy because they're going to be pulled back down to the ground because of gravity. So all those are examples of gravitational energy. So we're going to talk through just a couple simple energy transfers. And that's just when, again, energy is going to be moving from one object to another. So the first example here is a remote control car. So if I have a remote control car, I have to have batteries in it. And so it's starting with electrical energy because batteries are using electrical energy. So once I have the car turned on and it starts to move, once it starts moving, then it's going to be mechanical energy. So let's say I have like the remote control and I'm starting to drive it and it's moving around, and then I can make it start lighting up or like honking a horn or making sounds. Then it would have radiant energy. So that's a 3-step energy transfer because it went from electrical energy with the batteries to moving around, driving it around, which is mechanical, and then lighting up or making noise is radiant energy. So it just went from one form to another. Remember that the law of conservation of energy says that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be transferred. And that's exactly what we just did. We went from the batteries, which was electrical, to the car moving around, which is mechanical, to then lighting up, which is radiant. So we just transferred from those different forms of energy. So we're going to do a couple more. So a ball being tossed. When you're holding the ball and you're going to throw it up in the air, it has that potential to move. So it's going to be gravitational energy because you're going to be throwing it up. And so a ball being thrown up in the air is gravitational. And as it's falling down, it's going to be that mechanical energy because it's moving. So I thought this picture was a nice image because it just shows you how the path the ball's taking. So it obviously is going to have that gravitational energy as well as mechanical energy because it's being transferred. A TV. So if you think about a television, you have to plug it in. Once it's plugged in to an electrical socket, it has electrical energy. Once you turn it on, it's going to then have a form of radiant energy and the sound that you can hear as well as just the light. The screen has lights in it to allow it to light up so that you can see what's on the actual screen. So again, it's going from electrical energy from being plugged in to then radiant energy with the sound waves and the light. And then the last one, this is another 3-step energy transfer. And so this one's a car driving. So to start driving a car, you obviously have to have gasoline in it. So the first step would be chemical energy because it has gas. When you turn the car on, it heats up and it gets warm. So that's going to be thermal energy because it's heating up. And then that's going to transfer to mechanical energy because eventually you're going to start driving it down the road or start driving it. So this is just being transferred from chemical in the gas to thermal in the heat that it's releasing to then mechanical once it starts moving down the road. So today you're going to get some more practice with this with a Google slide. You're going to be having to just drag and drop where you think the different forms of energy belong in a path, in an energy transfer path. And you're just going to practice with 3 different examples, and we'll get a little bit more practice tomorrow as well.